to another guide in Roblox, this time for the HUDs. If anybody has not, well, if they've got there or not, they're just like, obviously, it is definitely easier. So if you haven't watched my other video for the guide on, I guess, pretty much everything, I did kind of forget to mention the guilds stuff. Um, well, obviously, you have to walk up to this guy. You'll have to like join a guild. There's also the pass that you can get rewards that resets weekly. You would want to try to have everyone do all your dailies, or as many people as possible. You would want to go to your guild server or guild hall. Why did I spawn on the table? Anyway, this is where you can see all your guild mates stuff. Now, when you have a guild war going on, it'll tell you. Right now, I guess there's no guild war for me, at least. None going on. But I think it might be random, or I think it's actually, I think it's time-based. That's quite possible. But anyway, like, you can just also buy stuff from the shop. This, you get these coins for doing guild war, which you also have to go here. You can update your team if you want, like whenever. You could test your team and see how tough they are. Anyway, the hunts. So, sorry about that. I swear. This guy is the daily quest for the hunts, right? So you talk to him. I think is it like every 8 hours. So every 8 hours you can do that quest, get some nice rewards. So the first one, I would definitely say, try to do Ella Dragon and the Hydra Queen. I know I said it in the other one, but this time I guess I'm gonna go more into it and actually show. And so the dragon, right? They're fire, of course. It costs 50 to use the anvil and summon. Now, I know it says anvil 1. I don't know why there wouldn't be other anvils, but whatever. So the sets are, if it's a 3-star, you get 2 substats. 4, you get another. You get 1 more substat to a max of 4 until you get 5-star. It'd be cool if there was 6-star equipment, but whatever. And obviously every time you enhance it, it'll go up like 1 substat, 5 being the max level, also being the most expensive. I would only recommend if you get a very decent set and it's for your DPS, put it on them, enhance that up to 5 if you can. You can sell gear to get more of the charm stuff to enhance it even more. Only sell what you don't really need to use, because you're going to need tons of teams for your guild wars, obviously, and probably about like what 5 or so teams. Also, if you want to know how to get teams, you just use the gems to get extra. The max you can have so far is, let's see, is this 10? Yeah, you can have 10. So at least for me, I would have 1 PvP. But obviously PvP, you can have your own lineup you set up. So technically, I don't need this, I guess. You would want 1 for all 5 of the hunts. The 5th one will be out sometime in the future. Don't know when. Hopefully they put in a defense set. That would be nice. But yeah, so you would have all for your main 4 at least. Elder Dragon, Orc King, Hydra Queen, and Arachnid Reaper. And of course for the element dungeons, but to be honest, you don't really need to have. You could use 1 team for those guys, but that's for. They're not really that difficult, but anyway, this is for the HUD. So Elder Dragon, right? Now, you do want to try to have water, because if you don't, Water or anything that's not Earth. If you have Earth, you're gonna get destroyed. If I go look at this, you go here, it tells you what the strongest. Yes. However, if you have the element, sometimes I've hit someone that I have the strength to, but for some odd reason, the enemy, it might be their passive or whatever, that they take like no strong damage. Like they don't take 30% more. It just shows a white number. And a white number or a gray faded out, it pretty much means you're doing like less damage. Like you don't even have the strength against them. If you're weak, so if a caster is strong against a target, 30% more. That's quite big. If a caster is weak, you do half your hit rate, which I honestly still have yet to know what that is. I think, okay, it might actually mean you're, I'm not sure. Um, Weak hit rate. This doesn't, I don't even know if it really explains it. Like, yeah, so I guess if there's different, like, hit types, I didn't even know that. Damage, weak, which is, okay, so yeah, that's the gray, which means you got somehow a weak hit. So I guess if you do hit them with the opposite element, that I guess it just means that you do less damage. You might have a less of a chance to hit your status effect or your debuff, right? Normal would just be white, so it's basic. Strong, you can tell, a light orange. However, I think crits are also orange, right? Yeah, so crits are, I think, red. So they say dark orange, so I guess it's dark orange, light orange. Crits are, they can be normal, they can be strong. I would like an icon if you actually hit an enemy and it showed like the crit set icon, so you know, okay, that was a crit. But yeah, so I guess the hit is weak. It means you don't hit the status effects or your damage isn't as high. It's just not as good. But anyway, why you want to have the right team dragon and all the hunts. The little guys, or the minions, that have their own, of course. They're not the worst. They have poison and burn status effects, which can be bad if you're not that strong. Anyway, each level, 1 to 4 stages, they get more speed, they get more resistance and effectiveness. They have immunities, and obviously starting out they're not too bad, but they get way worse when you get higher up. So Dragon, Burn, this is the basic one, right? This is his passive, which pretty much is saying the dragon targets the highest enemy, the enemy with the highest effective health. So that max health, I guess, current maybe, or it's the max health. So there is no element advantage. If you have like, I'm guessing that means you, if you use all fire, right, and you have no advantage, however, you want to beat him quick, you may not always have, like, I don't know if there's any possible way you could get max that much speed for the final stage of the dragon, Elder Dragon, to actually go first. Like, I think their speed is, it could be, but I haven't got anybody with speed that crazy. Even with the speed set, effective health, max health, X, defense, 900 plus 1. That is kind of confusing. I wish that was more, but it seems like he's just stronger if he has no, if there's no element advantage, right? So if you had an earth, he would hit the earth, but they would do even more damage, so I wouldn't use them regardless. This is the bad move. If he gets 4 turns, he gets to use this Tail Whip, and it is painful. He hits all enemies. He cleanses all debuffs. He heals like a ton of health, like 30 or more thousand of health. Unbreakable, which is undispellable. He gets defense, resistance, and the problem with something like that is you can still debuff him, but he's just so 30% he would get that. At higher stages, it's gonna go up to past 100%. So you know what that means? You're gonna have to just need a team to nuke instead of debuffing. So early on, yes, you probably want people that can debuff and kill them fast. And then possibly having someone that is just a debuffer that has nothing but effectiveness and they're tanky and fast, or you're just gonna, because this will do tons of damage. He also gets speed is divided by 3 and speed debuffs are ignored. So any speed debuff won't work, right? But this is just stage 1, okay? If I go to the second one, there's going to be another skill he gets, okay? He gets this one now. Body Slam. Attacks all enemies. Slam. A turn caster. Uses tell. Oh, wow. Okay, so this says active, which I think, and I'm guessing from it, what it says. He uses this as well. But the tail whip is the cast has, if he has, I guess, over 35% health. Wait. Attacks all enemies with body slam. Activates the turn. Okay, after he uses this. Never mind. So he'll use this too. He gets 2 turns or 2 attacks. The second. So if you want to like beat him or buff your team before he uses it. But again, all hunt bosses, I believe, heal. I have most of them. Now they get 25%, and they get what he had like 130 or something, 120. Anyway, he gets more speed, a significant boost every time. So you don't want him to get that off. You want to beat them as fast as possible. Now the third stage, right? Even more, 25% resistance. So it goes up to 75 max. And his speed's going to be 200. Now he's got he's got a passive. When he uses Tail Whip, dispels all buffs from enemy. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's bad. I haven't even got to this guy yet. I just have not gotten lucky with the substats, the main stats, and the sets. The sets pretty much the biggest deal. But that is pretty nasty. Like, if you don't have a fast team that can just buff themselves all, it's just gonna be real tough. Really tough. Now the last one is almost 1,000,000,000 strength. Or sorry, 1,000,000, my bad. Now he gets 1 more. They get 1 per. So Dragon fires. Fire activates an additional attack. Oh, so he gets another turn. Unless the caster is inflicted. So you want to debuff him. So when he uses this, right? So he'll probably use this at the start or at his next turn. Because all of these are passives. Every one of these are a passive or an active. So he gets 1 main attack, and now he gets 5 more speed. I thought it was 200. No, 70. Honestly, that's better than 75. But anyway, he gets another turn unless he has 2 debuffs. So you actually want to have a debuffing team on him, right? Body Slam increases the caster's attack permanently by 20% each time it's used. So you gotta just kill the dragon fast. Like, that's what you gotta. You gotta debuff him. You gotta kill him fast. Now debuffs still work, but he gets high resistance. So this will be 100 if he gets body slat or tail whip off the resistance. Uh, so yeah, you want to have the right team. You gotta make sure you know what you're doing. So debuffers recommend. Obviously, it would still be best to use waters, right? Any waters that you also want their effectiveness to be, I'd say, to hit those, him being that high, at that level, I'd say the lower ones just start out with a good team, right? Waters, I'd say anyone that has a defense down, and you can also search. So you could search if you have somebody like that, right? Defense down, where is it? Why is this? Where the heck is it? Oh, my bad, that's a buff. Not a debuff, sorry. So you can search debuffs, buffs, right? So you would probably want to, for the dragon, kill him fast. Like, put bleeding, burn, poison, whatever, defense down. Any debuff that's good and gives your team some killing the enemies. I would definitely try to have one AoEer because the minions. If you're doing auto battle and you can't kill the little guys, sometimes they'll get turns and they will beat your one of your healers, support, whoever it is, the squishy or whatever, they will die really fast if you don't have someone. So I'd say anyone with AoEs. I think for water, there is some good AoEs. Like if you can get this guy, he does have like a double, I think it's a double AoE. Yeah, so double AoE. But however, this guy, he's probably really good for Dragon because he can put 2 debuffs. It's a fairly high chance, and if you give him high effectiveness and make sure he has good speed, like good as it could get, and also health and defense, do that. Because he has a debuff. Obviously, this won't work on the boss. But these two will. Like, you can at least have this, and it's for 2 turns. He's an AoEer, but this is mainly for debuffing. If you don't have them, just pick anyone that has debuffs. But this is for the stage 4. If you're fighting the weaker ones, you could probably get away with at least a good AoEer. Just make sure they have damage, and then obviously you want your healer, your support, right? Your supports. You want to have someone to heal, right? Let me take that element off. You can use anybody, but I would not use. I would just make sure that you have. Don't use a earth. They will die so fast. They'll get targeted. Probably the first one to get hit. So if you have the High Priestess or anybody like one of the sages, the satyr, or she's not bad. The pious reader, she can give you a defense and regen, which ain't bad. The only problem, she's a single target healer. Other like this, she cleanses and gives them turn red. This can be great if you have like say one nuker, one person to melt the boss down. Bam, they're done. This also works on the boss, so I think this decreases their chance to hit debuffs, so this could be good. But there are better choices. It just depends. Who you have, use them. Also, make sure you get them to A3 so they get an extra effect or something with this, which could be very helpful. So you obviously want every team to have a support or buffers, like let's say you would want Ranger. They're good for buffing, sometimes debuffing. Thieves are fast glass cannons, so just make sure you have like even a tank or someone to buff them with defensive protection spells and all, or they will get dropped really fast. So make sure you have the right name, obviously the support, and then your DPS. And I'd say a debuffer, and then a tank. you could have a lot of people do damage, even if they're tanky. Some people, though. Not all. Some are just meant to be tanky in a certain way. But for a dragon, yeah, that's pretty much it. I think up to stage 3, you could get away with just using whatever good team you have, right? And you can enhance your carrier. So these 3 will always have the same stats, if you did not know. Attack, health, defense. And then, so it's your choice. Do you want to have crit rate or crit damage? I would always try to choose one of those. If you have a crit set, it just depends, because there's a lot of sets. There's a few sets. You can have crit rate and then do this crit damage and get crit rate on all your substats. Even if you just have one substat with that, it's probably more than fine. If you have a crit rate set, you want to try to do 4 sets, 1 4 and 1 2, or 3 2s. But yeah, this will have effective and resistance. If you need that, I would get that. It can only have it on the gloves, and flat speed. I'd probably always try to have flat speed, unless they're quick enough, or you have a support to give you speed, or debuff their speed. It just depends. Like, there's a lot of things. Too many things to go over about all of that. So the Hydra Queen, like I said, to do this as well, but probably the dragon first. In adventure, you only get the attack set, right? Or sorry, the health set, but it can still have sub main stats like attack, defense, health. So for this, you get crit, right? That's why, at penetration, which is it doesn't stack, so you can have a 2 set crit rate, penetration, and then do like whatever else you're feeling like health set for the last, or resistance if you don't want them to get debuffed. It just depends what you want. But yeah, so these have all the same main stats you could get. Hydra Queen, though, a little bit different. Not like really any boss I've seen. So the biggest thing with them is have a team that, of course, you want cleansers, because they do quite a bit of debuffing. They do silence, which is not good. You want someone with high resistance, mainly your support, to cleanse it, or some champs that have a self-cleanse. Actually, never mind what am I talking about. That's a bad idea on I think it's bad on her. No, yeah, it might be another boss. Anyway, their next is poison, decrease attack. They get a shield for 30% of their health, max health. They're passive. This is why you want to use single target attackers, because she takes less from AoEers. So, yeah, you want people that champs that only use single targets, mainly. You want at least probably one AoEer, like even just one AoE attack that can kill the minions, because obviously they take half the damage from AoEs, which is a lot, especially if you like do a 10k crit. You're only going to do 5 at that point, which is quite huge. So I think it's at her next stage. Let me see. I think this is the one. Strikes an enemy penetrating defense by 25 for each debuff inflicted. So another reason you want cleansers, to not have 2 or more debuffs on your team. And for this one, I have not gotten to look at yet. This is the new one. The passive, if the caster is debuffed after being attacked. So now you have to think, you don't want debuffs, you just want nukers, I guess. Well, actually, no, because this is a 2 turn. So this passive is the special case. It only gives her defense, cleanses the debuffs. What's not so horrible about this is you can debuff them again. They just have to get 2 turns in order for this to go off, right? Because it's a 2-turn cooldown. So it's not the worst, but just keep in mind that. Also, this boss, let me see, do they all have the same speed? I think they do. The same speed, resistance, and effective. Let's see. Yep, actually, Hydra Queen's a lot slower, but I guess because she's a debuffer. So this one, another passive. When attacked by a hit that is not a crit, so you want to like critical. That's actually really bad. That means you need single target attackers, cleansers, and making sure that they all pretty much always crit. So someone you could use to help with that if you have them. Because they don't seem all that crazy difficult, but if you don't have this, they're going to get their turns, and you're going to have no debuffs because of her shedding cleanse. And she gets defense, so you want defense down on them pretty much any boss. And they're just going to get their turns so fast that they're going to delete you. Even if they don't have all AoEs. I guess this is a single target, this is an AoE. But yeah, so someone to help with that, I know for a fact, this one, what's her name? I think it's Noble Huntress or something. Noble Huntress. She's great. You can make her tanky and fast. This helps you, so if you are at least, at 50%, she will help with this. However, you do need to get it leveled up and have her be as fast as possible. Because apparently on the stage 5, she will always get a quarter more turn readiness, so they can be more deadly because they get more turns faster. So have someone like her on your team to boost crit rate. If I look for crit rate, right? She's the only one so far that I've got and seen that has crit rate. So they are kind of just the only one that you want. Like that you gotta have her, or it's not gonna be good time. Because getting 100% crit rate ain't difficult, right? You could have this crit rate, and then you need. It is a little more difficult in this. Then you need a set, which gives you 25. So I think at max this gives 60, depending on the star level. And 25 for the set, so that would be 25 plus 60. So it's almost 100, which means you need to have her on the team. Which I think anybody should at least be able to get her fairly early on. You could use her, right? The Sylvan Scout. She can boost. You can have both of them to boost their attack. This T spells as well as buffing your attack and crit rate. But you don't want AoEs, remember? You just want buffers, a cleanser, a tank, and some really good, or even just one DPS. Probably the best debuffer you can get. And then, just straight up great single targets. I'd say he's good. Tundra Person. He has defense down. He can cleanse himself. He gets attack as well. If you get his A3, which is Ascension. He can burn, which is good. She's also good. She may have one AoE, but I think I'd rather use her because she AoEs, drops their speed. She can cleanse as well. Get more attack the more times I think somebody hits her, right? And she gets attack and crit damage. So you get her crit rate up, crit damage, and whatever attack stats. She has a S1 for defense down. This also does damage 5% of their max health. I didn't realize that till now. She's absolutely a beast for this and other stuff. I would use Dragon Conqueror. She's awesome. And whoever you have, just use those. There's just so many champs I could not tell you which ones to use exactly like the perfect teams. But yeah, there's that and the Arcane. Okay, this guy has the sets you want for your tanks for the HP, DPS, the critical damage, and the counters. So counter has a chance to attack again. Now, I don't think it might stack. I would think it stacks. So somebody, I would rather have a lifesteal and a counter set. Because if you have, well, actually you can't because they're both 4. Unless they put 8 pieces of gear, you could get the game. But anyway, 30%, some of them are good. Better to have that because they have a chance to counter. And you would just have to build the right main stat, substat, you know. But health for more health, counter, and what was the other one? Oh yeah, crit damage. Now, the thing with this guy, he's kind of like the dragon. He will heal if you... unhealable doesn't work, so I already tried it. Do not try to use that on him. He will heal no matter what on his... The second he gets 4 turns, he will heal. He'll stun, he'll give himself a defense buff, he'll cleanse, and heal. He can do a lot with just that last turn. He can't take... So you can't really nuke him down, but you can keep him from getting turns. So best drop his speed or making it to where, like, even use restrict to where he can't get turn readiness. But I don't think that actually works, like, right now. Anyway, you just want to drop his speed because you can't do too much. Like, 100% health, and if you could do 15 per hit of his max health, that would be, well, let me take a look. So each hit is down. You would have to take, let's see how many to kill him. If you could beat him in do 15, right, every hit, it would take you 8 hits in total. So if you had someone to kill him, you'd have to take 8 turns to kill him if you could do that. Right, because that's how much hits it would take to finish him off if he takes 15% of his max health in 1 hit. The next one is a stun. Another stun, okay? He doesn't just... Well, he drops your speed. Never mind. That's just... This is like his... yeah, so he targets the one who does the most damage if there's no element advantage. So he may not even use... so, no, he wouldn't stun them, right? I'm not sure. Targets the enemy has done the most damage. So he could not use this if you had, like, say, a water. But I don't know. Like, if you guys have tried that, let me know. But anyway, it's just better to just try to beat them as fast as possible, obviously. Because the RNG of getting the right and perfect gear is kind of sucky. Anyway, always want to have a cleanser on these guys. In this case, you want debuffers. I mean, they could be good, but I think it's better to, like, have buffers, immunity, protection, and anything to just try to beat him fast. You don't really want to, like... You can't really worry about trying to kill him quicker because he's not like the other bosses. He actually takes more time to beat than the others. And this, which isn't the worst, all he does is heal 5% on his turn of his max health. That's not that bad, okay? Compared to the other bosses, right? And the final ones. This guy right here, this last one. So, yeah, this is another reason why you need to have protection buffs and make sure that you have... just make sure that you can kill him fast and protect your team, because every 4 hits, he's going to counter. And it's a free attack. And if it's his turn, he's gonna do that, and then hit you with like the decreased speed or the stun. So yeah, he's someone you probably want to have immunity on, as well as making sure your team is protected. Um, Now, for a team, anybody like that, it just depends how much damage you do. I'd say it's definitely good to have the satyr. Like, he's good. He has immunity in the shield, which the shield feels like it takes less damage. Like, I know that it doesn't say it, but I've hit enemy opponents with a shield, and they've taken so much less damage. I feel like it gives them some type of defense buff. Um, but yeah, anyway, like immunity's good. You want someone like him. Uh, and just since you don't have to worry about the cleanses or anything, you can use like Molten Mauler, um, and possibly like this guy, because he does. Now, dot damage might be the same, but he does burn, so he can just do a lot of damage to his health when he gets his turn. He also does a lot of nuking damage. And she is good too because she has a defense down, but even if you get that down, it's still at least going to be 3 turns. However, you can make her very fast. She can be good, Blood Moon Ninja. Just again, whoever you want to use, be like, okay. He's really good. He can buff his attack if you give somebody that boosts crit rate before his turn. He can be good for melting him, but again, he's gonna be kind of squishy. Um, you just gotta get your right main sets and substats. You'll be fine. Uh, just make sure you have at least your defensive buffer to protect those squishy people, or you're just going to have a hard time. Now, this one is probably the last you want to try, because you don't want to. This is the one, the hunt that you don't want to use non-attack skills on. Anyway, this gives immunity, which is pretty good for like, but it only lasts for the start. So if you know the enemy's faster, you could use that to keep you from getting a nasty debuff, and then, but the lifesteal and corruption are probably the best sets. Corruption can stack, and what it does is it pretty much you can have. You could have multiple pieces on, but it doesn't matter because reduces the enemy's max health, so it might even reduce the boss's max health. I haven't got to try it yet. A AoE does 8%, a single target does double. So 16, it could go up to 50, so they would have like what? If they had 50k, they're going down to 25 or something like that, just depends. If you get at least that many hits off. Lifesteal, yeah, pretty much, that's self-explanatory, but it's a 4-piece set, 30% healing off of your damage, which is pretty good. I've seen very few people in PvP have that. So, reason why I said don't have non-attack skill people in your party is it's not his ability this bad. It's not his passive. Actually, it is his passive. Sorry. If they don't use a battle attack skill, he will do deep cut. And deep cut just pretty much, I would think, applies a debuff. I haven't really paid attention. But it will do damage to them. It doesn't matter if it's his turn, he will hit you with it. So you have to have a team that just attacks. No self-cleansing, non-attack skills. He'll buff his attack and decrease yours. and it does. Oh, what did that say? Ignored. Attack ignores resistance. Okay, so that's another reason to have immunity on this guy. If you don't, then he's probably gonna, unless you also have a cleanser as well. But yeah, that's what makes him bad when you want to use someone like Dragon Conqueror. Because they have that one passive that is a non-attack skill. Attacks all enemies. It does more damage the more health you have, I guess, because 50% of the target's health. So half of your health. I don't think it didn't say max health. This guy has crippling strike, which is just a stun. Strikes additionally inflicting one stun. So any of these, you want to have a cleanser. And the final one, which is when the caster defeats a target. Oh boy! So that means if you lose somebody, okay. So this is the only time that he heals. A quarter of his health and 25%. This stacks, so it doesn't even look like there's a cap, which means if you don't beat him very quickly, or your team just doesn't die, you don't need to beat him quick. He's about the only exception that you could take it slow. You just want to be surviving. Because they can't really heal, they can't cleanse, at least from what? Right. Yeah, they can't do any of that. So he's probably easier, but also more difficult. I feel like if you're using self-cleanser champs, okay? Or it's not self-cleansers, but self-buffers. No attacks at all, right? So this is counted as one. So if they're not hitting an enemy and buffing or debuffing, same with her, you're going to get hit every single time, and they will die extremely fast. There's not actually many that have something like that. He does, obviously, so you could use them, but if you know they can do enough damage to beat them, I just wouldn't do it. Like, unless your team's absolutely maxed out and stacked, and you're just trying to get gear for your other team and stuff, I would not do that. He could honestly sometimes be the hardest one to beat, but it could actually be the stage 4 dragon. It just depends who you have. But yeah, like, you just have to get your champs up. You would want to get your skills up, their levels. Levels are quite huge. Equipment, of course, you want to try to get up to legendary as soon as you can. Skills, use them only on people that you're going to use on those fights every single time. Because it does get expensive. Even if you sit and you get a ton of gems, these books cost 250 for one. Most expensive things are those two and the catalyst. But yeah, they are very expensive to get those up. Ascension just costs, I'd only get it to 3 because it only costs you the a dupe of the champ and a few of these, which you hit 4, and depending on their number, it's gonna go up in price. So it'll cost that's not that much. But these, heck yeah, they're expensive. Now these aren't too bad. The catalysts are no big deal. It's just getting the copies, the tubes, which is the struggle to get that. But yeah, that is it for the odds when the 5th one is released, and I hope this helped you guys. And I may just make a perfect team for each of the hunt bosses. If you would like to see that, let me know in the comments. But when they eventually bring out the 5th hunt boss, whatever that is. I don't know. Um, but yeah, that would be real nice to see that. And the defense set and whatever other two sets they put, because there was that in the I don't even think they had that in the other game. Yeah, their old game. If you guys didn't know they had an older one of this, it was like more like a gotcha one, more than the AFK auto one. But there wasn't even defense at, which kind of sucks because they have a very few champs that scale with defense. But I mean, it'd be nice if they put that in the game on one of the hunts, because I know he scales with it. He's like the only one, but it's only his S1. They could make a few more champs, or like 10 or so, that scale off of defense. You can still get defense percent. So like him, I did that because that's what he scales with. But yeah, anyway, when they probably, hopefully put that Lazda Hunt out, I will do a video on that. But yeah, I hope this helped. If you guys enjoyed it, if you did, please leave a like. Let me know if you enjoy this. If you have any other Roblox games, don't really know much about it. You want me to do a guide on that? Just let me know in the comments. Also subscribe if you have it. It's free. You can always change your mind later. And it does help me out if you do that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.